The focus of a joint GOP investigation has now put President Biden's younger brother under the microscope. This coming, revealing James Biden helping facilitate his nephew Hunter Biden in his business dealings with China. Our congressional correspondent Kilmeny Ducart following the story, joining us live now from Capitol Hill with the latest. The story continues to evolve, Kilmeny.
Absolutely, Sean. As part of their 3-year investigation, Republican Senators Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson unveiled documents this week showing James Biden's company, the Lion Group, receiving large transactions from a Chinese consulting firm. According to this 2018 bank statement, transactions show incoming wires from CEFC, which Grassley says is effectively an arm of the Chinese government. Payments that Grassley says were to assist these related companies with finding projects for global and domestic infrastructure and energy.
With these new records, there can be no doubt that James Biden was financially connected to the corporations and individuals with extensive link to Communist China, and that he and Hunter Biden were in it together, working to help a Chinese government-linked energy company pursue deals and expand its reach in the energy sector.
Well, Grassley also revealed this LLC agreement showing monthly retainer fees for Hunter Biden and James Biden totaling $165,000 per month, and money that was connected to Hudson West 3 and CEFC, again, two companies with ties to the Communist Party. But more than 150 of these transactions were flagged by U.S. banks as concerning. It's also reportedly part of a 2019 probe with the U.S. Attorney General of Delaware, who was investigating Hunter Biden for potential tax and foreign lobbying violations. But Senator Grassley said that they obtained these documents directly with the consulting firm that did business, of course, with that. And he described these revelations as very concerning.
Kilmeny Ducart with the latest there at the Capitol. Kilmeny, thank you very much.
With reaction now to the fallout from Hunter Biden's laptop, let's welcome in our panelist. Here with us this morning, Newsweek opinion editor, host of The Josh Hammer Show, Josh Hammer. Also with us, we have Turning Point USA contributor and host of Spillover, Alex Clark. Great to see our panelists here today. Josh, let's start with you. Based on these new developments, could there actually be some consequences for Hunter Biden?
So I think a lot of that, unfortunately, depends on whether or not Republicans can actually retake the House and or the Senate this fall. Obviously, the use of the subpoena power, I think, is one of the quintessential congressional tools laid out in the constitutional playbook. So in order to actually use that power, of course, you need a majority. So we'll see what happens after this fall's election. Obviously, the polling is looking particularly good for Republicans. But, that kind of is a quintessential thing that could happen for the next 2 years from 2022 to 24, when Republicans theoretically do not have the presidency, but if they have control of Congress, they could really kind of use very intense use of the subpoena power to kind of get to the bottom of the Hillary Clinton stuff, obviously. Go get to the bottom of Russiagate. Obviously, there's new stuff with the John Durham probe and all of that. So I would think the Republicans for the next 2 years, if they do retake the House and or the Senate, should really focus on heavy use of the subpoena power for both the Biden and Clinton stories, honestly.
Alex, New York Post headline here, we'll show it to you, which reads this. Here's a dozen times Joe Biden played a role in son Hunter's business dealings. Some examples the Post gives in their article, quote, Hunter Biden acknowledged in a 2019 New Yorker magazine article that he and his dad once discussed Hunter's job on the board of the Ukrainian energy company Burisma Holdings, which paid him as much as $83,333 a month when Joe Biden was vice president under President Barack Obama, end quote there. The White House vehemently denies that Joe Biden has even talked to his son about his business dealings. But how far can that go? Can this investigation potentially find more that maybe Joe Biden does know about his son's business dealings?
Okay, well, we know from what's on the laptop that without a doubt, it wasn't just Hunter doing shady stuff using his dad's name for clout because his dad is well known. Joe Biden was involved. He was getting a cut. The rest of Joe Biden's sons were involved in getting a cut. Joe Biden is CC'd on emails with other huge oligarchs around the world. We had more than 50 top intelligence officials, right, claiming that Hunter's laptop was Russian disinformation. And now we're a little over a year later, even the leftist media outlets like the Washington Post, like the New York Times, are admitting, oh, okay, yeah, this stuff is real. So all of this tells me personally two things. Number one, my trust in our intel leaders is at an all-time low. I don't know about you, but also that the Washington Post and the New York Times, they're not suddenly covering, the laptop from hell because overnight they've developed some integrity. No, they're covering it because if they get indicted, then they can play it off and say, oh, yeah, well, we did cover it technically, so you really can't hold it against us.
Yeah, you bring up media coverage, the timing of it all. In fact, here's CBS with their report on the Hunter investigation. Let's watch.
More than 150 transactions involving either Hunter or James Biden's global business affairs were flagged as concerning by U.S. banks for further review. Some of those concerns included large wire transfers.
These records come directly from the banks, no third party.
You're absolutely right.
All right, that report, Josh, making it on CBS Evening News, so it has reached mainstream. What do you make of the timing in their coverage?
I mean, a day late and a dollar short does not quite do it here. As I wrote in my column last week, now we're a year and a half late and trillions of dollars in debt short at this point. What happened back in October 2020, if you go back to when the New York Post first reported on the infamous Hunter Biden laptop from hell, obviously Twitter and Facebook banned dissemination of the URL in private DMs and private messages, let alone actually publicly sharing it. The New York Post was locked out of its own Twitter account for 2.5 weeks on the precipice of a monumental regime-defining election. I mean, if you go back and look at that time, it is one of the most defining episodes from my perspective as to the rise of a monolithic, uniparty, unibrow American ruling class. That is a ruling class that seeks to subjugate deplorables, that seeks to stamp over people who do not kowtow to its will, who don't agree with its various kind of idiosyncratic orthodoxies. And that ruling class spreads across the mainstream media, to social media, to the big tech oligarchs out in Silicon Valley. It is really kind of a sordid set of affairs that we have gotten ourselves into. But good for getting it out there. I'm a little suspicious that they're doing it for good motives, obviously, but better late than never, I guess.
Alex, I'll close on this with you. Obviously, this story has been suppressed by Twitter. The New York Post broke this story some 17 months ago. Do you think voters now, even those that voted for Biden, now seeing this story play out? Because remember, not everybody watches certain news networks that are covering this. This may be the first time some people are actually seeing it now in mainstream media. Does this change their perception of whom they put in office?
I think that they are living in an echo chamber bubble. The people they follow on social media, the news that they consume, you're right, none of those people are discussing it. And so I'm worried that they don't know about it and they refuse to know about it. But I do want to point out to voters, if you are listening, and this is the first time you're hearing about this story, Joe Biden constantly calls Hunter Biden's laptop disinformation and all of this. But just remember, he has never actually denied being the big guy in the emails that gets the cut, right? So I think that's important for people to realize.
I don't know if he's been asked about that specifically. We'd have to follow up on that and just see if some journalists would actually confront him on the matter, get his take on it. Josh Hammer and Alex Clark, thank you, panelists. We appreciate the conversation. Good stuff there.